Hello my dudes. Today I want to give you guys my thoughts on the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why and kind of discuss all of the many topics that were brought up throughout the series. But before I get started, I'm going to be doing videos with other French students similar to my video with Harmony on the differences between France and the US. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask real live French people, or topics that you want us to discuss, maybe things about French culture, about France, about Europe in general, you know, what these French people think of the United States or whatever, leave them in the comments below, and I'm gonna be putting all these together soon, so stay tuned for some good cultural vids. But today I want to discuss this show because I just finished it, everybody's been talking about it, and I think that it brings up a lot of very important issues. In case you don't know what 13 Reasons Why is, it is a new Netflix show based on a book, which I actually read way back, but it's been years so I kind of forgot most of it before I watched this. This video is going to be rather heavy and it's going to deal with some difficult subject matter, so this is a formal trigger warning about sexual assaults, suicide, and other issues, so there you go. The show is about a girl named Hannah Baker who commits suicide and leaves behind tapes explaining the 13 reasons why and the people responsible for her taking her own life. It is a very tough show to watch, especially the last few episodes. I'm assuming you've watched it if you're watching this, but spoiler alert, I'm definitely gonna spoil some things probably. There's been some mixed reviews. For the most part I've seen online, people have enjoyed the show. Some people think that it was too graphic because there is very graphic scenes of rapes and also Hannah's suicide itself. And I agree, those are extremely graphic, but you know, that was a choice that the creators of the show made, and one thing I can say is that they probably should have put stronger warnings at the beginning of those episodes because I don't think people were expecting quite that graphic of scenes. You know, otherwise typical feedback like, this doesn't represent high school at all, it's too stereotypical, blah blah, or this actually is pretty accurate, this tends to describe what happens at my high school. So everybody has different experiences, and yeah, the show obviously isn't going to perfectly represent your experience, most likely, but I think it does a good job of at least creating three-dimensional characters where you see their image that they portray for the school, such as, you know, popular smart girl, cheerleader, happy fun jock, and then you get to see each of their problems and demons inside. So I think that's good. I mean, at least all the characters, you get to see their flaws. As far as the show goes, I wasn't like blown away by it. For most of the episodes, I was very bored. A lot of the more minor characters, I was like, okay, I don't think I need a full hour episode for this. But I get that, you know, each episode focuses on one character, one storyline, yada yada. I just wanted to get all the way through it so that I could see the end. But yeah, so I don't know. Regardless of how good the actual show is, I think that the discussion it brings forth and the topics that come up because of this are very important. So I'm gonna focus on those. I wrote down just a few things. I do like the variety of things that the show brings up, such as LGBT relationships or being closeted, obviously bullying, sexual assault, suicide, suicidal thoughts, depression, substance abuse, gossip, rumors, lies. I think all of those things are relevant to high school or being a teenager, being a young adult. Showing all of the different characters struggling with these issues is realistic. It may be stereotypical or cliched at some points, but life usually is. Things become cliches because they're true a lot of the time. First thing I want to talk about is Mr. Porter, the counselor. This is probably one of the most disturbing parts for me because I can't name a single high school or college of myself or anybody I know that has a very strong system of counseling or mental health services. I think every college or high school needs more. They need more support. I've heard of people having to wait weeks to make an appointment with a counselor at their college or high school, and that is just simply unacceptable. It is insane to tell someone who clearly needs help and who was, you know, strong and brave enough to reach out for that help that they need to wait. You know, when people need help, they need it as soon as possible. And so that gets me very angry. And in this situation, that wasn't the case. With Hannah, she got to talk to her counselor, but then her counselor wasn't helpful and didn't do the right things for her. But yeah, outside of the show, there is a very serious lack of mental health services for everyone. And that is a huge major problem. I mean, I don't know what can possibly be done about it. Obviously, it's a difficult issue and it's expensive. Where's the money gonna come from? But if there's something that high schools can do or colleges can do to help protect their students, this is very serious. You know, instead of investing in anti-bullying posters like the show did, like, you need to be serious and you need to buckle down and realize that you need real support. And you need to really know how to talk to people and understand when they have issues that need more help, you know? Okay, but that's one major thing. That gets me really, really, really upset. Because yeah, like I said, it takes a lot to go and get that help. It just takes a lot to go and open up to somebody. But it's very important to have the services there so that people know when they need someone that at the very least they can go and talk to a counselor or a professional who can help them. Yeah, I just realized like that was really something that pissed me off. Another thing is like the teacher that read Hannah's poem. That is a problem as well. I think it's protocol in like every school that when teachers notice something like that, they're supposed to report it. In that situation, it was like anonymous, so it was complicated. But also, it shouldn't be a teacher's responsibility to be that person. I'm friends with some teachers, and I know that a lot of the time they do become the confidant, and sometimes kids come to them with the heaviest shit, you know, shit that they should be telling to a professional. And a teacher's there to teach and they want to be there to be supportive, but a teacher isn't a mental health professional. I don't know exactly what my point is. It's just that you can't expect teachers to fill that role, which is another reason why it's so important to make sure there's an adequate amount of professionals to do that job. The teachers can be the first person who's told, they can be the first person to notice, but they need to be able to pass that on to somebody whose actual job it is to deal with those things. Another thing I want to talk about is just the concept of rumors, because obviously everybody is familiar with this. I remember in high school hearing that so-and-so's nudes got leaked, or someone hooked up with somebody and everybody's telling the stories about it, and that is so fucked up because you really, really cannot imagine how horrible it is to be that person. I think that the show does a good job of showing how horrifying it is to know that people are talking about you and that they know very intimate things about you, or just to feel like everybody is always talking about you even when they're not. Nobody deserves to have those intimate things shown and shared with the whole school. So if any kind of pictures or stories or things, rumors come up like that, do your best to not look at the pictures, not spread them for sure, and don't spread those rumors. Do not talk about it, because you may not feel like you're the problem. You're just one of the many people who heard it. Oops, and you told somebody else because it was interesting news. But you're complicit in that bullying and in that spread of really malicious information. And I think that the show does a good job of showing that. You, just one person who happens to hear a rumor and pass it on, that's your fault now as well. You may not have been the person who originated it, but it's your responsibility every time you hear something to decide if you're gonna be the kind of person who passes it on or who goes, this is not my business. I don't know if this is true at all. Either way, I'm not going to move this forward. What else? I guess the last thing is just like a reminder to be a nice person and to be a good friend and to pay attention to the people around you. Notice any signs. You know, it's a cliche, yeah, like look for warning signs, look for cries for help, but it's serious. And we all need to be just good, empathetic people who don't want to cause more suffering in people. And when you see someone who needs someone, you can be that person. You know, it's easier said than done, but it's really important to give someone some time of your day and show that you care about them. So make sure with everybody in your life, everybody around you, make it clear to them that you'll be there for them, even if they're not going through something right now. Just, you know, have that kind of relationship with your friends, your family, that, you know, if you're ever going through something, I am here for you. You can tell me anything. I will never judge you. I'm here for you. And hopefully they'll do the same for you. Last thing is about suicide prevention. Obviously that is one of the most difficult things about this show and about life in general. I'm going to leave some resources in the description. This is the National Suicide Hotline. So for your sake or for anybody who you know, it's always good to have these resources and to know who to reach out to when anybody needs help. One last cliche, everybody always says suicide is never the answer, and I agree with that. It's so important to somehow be able to hold on to some strand of life and light, and know that even when everything is crumbling around you and the world is truly impossibly dark, there are people who care about you. It may not feel like it, you may not believe it, but I promise you, there are people who care about you and love you and want you to be better, and things will get better. It takes time. It's really, really difficult, but we want everybody to stick around as long as we can, you know? So that's my 2 cents on this show. Let me know what you guys thought. Any other tips for, you know, anti-bullying, suicide prevention, mental health resources? Please let me know. Please share with each other. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Subscribe to my vlog channel for more videos of me. And stay tuned, hopefully for a happier, more upbeat video next week. Okay, thanks, bye.